And I do have a short, short little video to go with that. I wouldn't say this is typical of every father, but you could kind of maybe relate in this video in some ways. Either you are this person or you know someone that's like this.
This is the worst officiating game I've ever seen. Just take him to the hole. That's a foul. That's a terrible call. Are you serious? My son's not in the game right now, but he's got a couple offers. Colleges are looking at me. Probably going to go D1. Yeah, the coach just thinks him trapped him. That's a foul. Charge. We got to play some defense. Oh, we got to go offense. I'm going to go find the coach at halftime. I got a couple plays I'm going to recommend to him. That's a foul. He's over his back. That's a terrible call. You know what? I heard they illegally recruited some of these players. I think they paid them. Guard somebody. Guard trap him. Trap him. How is my son supposed to get a D1 scholarship if y'all put him in the game? I mean, sure, he's 4'11", he's a senior, but he can shoot. Jump ball! That's a jump ball! No! We need somebody in the game that can handle the ball. My son can dribble 2 basketballs at once. I think I'm going to pull my son out of the school. They don't appreciate him here. That is a travel! These refs are horrible. I need like some kind of cushion or something. These bleachers are killing my hips. Box out, defense, defense. That's a foul! That's a terrible call! Where do they find these refs? I didn't pay $150 for a pair of Jordans for my son to sit on the bench. I'm going to email the coach after the game.
All right, what kind of father are you? Are you one that maybe a little bit edge, a little bit pushy? I don't know how you would kind of describe it, but what kind of father does God expect us to be? What kind of parent or adult does God expect us to be? As we open up with our scripture this morning in Psalms chapter 127, Psalms chapter 127, verses 1 through 5, we learn a little bit about some of the expectations. Psalms 127, 1 through 5. Unless the Lord builds the house, the builder's labor is in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchmen stand guard in vain. In vain you will raise early and stay up late, toil for food to eat. For he grants sleep to those who he loves. Sons are the heritage from the Lord. Children are a reward from him. Like arrows in the hands of the warrior are sons born in one's youth. Blessed is the man whose quiver is full of these of them. They will not be put to shame when they contend with their enemies at the gate. So just as a reminder in that verse, it does say, children are a reward. Do you agree? Okay, so can we say 50-50 on the reward part and say tolerable the other half? Or at least some, I don't know. But we'll notice in the text that it also says that we probably should have our children in our youth. We shouldn't really be having children. Like, it's great as grandparents, I'm sure, to have the young children over, but it's great because, you're not young anymore and you could just send them right back. No problem. I will take them for a few hours, maybe an overnight, that's fine, but you got to give me at least a couple days recovery in these rewarding children that you have. I don't know what you call them. Oh, you have an input. Go ahead.
Especially after you give all the Mountain Dew and donuts.
Right. Sugar them up and send them back. Oh, look, Grandma has cookies. How many can I have? You can have them all, honey. You can have them all. Today's Father's Day. Many of us can have multiple descriptions and meanings of what fathers are. And here are some ideas of what, and it's kind of like a translation. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a translation from the Men's Thesaurus, kind of describing what men really mean, what fathers really mean. So when a man says, it would take too long to explain, what he actually means, I have no idea how it works. When a man says, take a break, honey, you're working too hard, what he's actually saying is that vacuum's way too loud, I can't hear the game. When a man says, that's interesting, dear, he actually means, are you still talking? When a man says, it's a guy's thing, what he actually means, there's no rational thought pattern to connect this together, and there's no chance to make it logical, so don't even try. When a man says, can I help with dinner, he actually says, is it done yet? And when a man says, oh yeah, sure honey, or yes dear, he's actually meaning absolutely nothing. That's just a conditioned response. When a man says, you know I have bad memory, he actually means, you know what, I can remember the girlfriend's phone number from when I first met her in high school and in junior high, and I can also remember all the words in the theme song to Hogan's Hero, and I could also remember my first license plate number on my old car that I had whenever I was in high school and in college, but I can't remember your birthday. When a man says, I hear you, he says, I haven't the foggiest clue of what you just said. I'm just hoping desperately to fake my way through this so you don't yell at me for 3 days about this. And when a man says, you look terrific, it says, oh, please don't try on another outfit. We're late and I'm starving. And when a man says, that's not what I meant, it means if something I said can be interpreted 2 different ways, and one of the ways makes you sad or angry, I meant the other way. Dads are definitely different than mothers. We have to be the strong, unemotional ones, even though we sometimes will fall to pieces. But we're expected to stand together and be strong and make good, rational decisions instead of emotional responses that some others might take. We are providing for the family. And a matter of fact, it says in 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8, if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for his immediate family, he has denied his faith and is worse than an infidel. An infidel. This is King James version of what I'm reading here, so it's very interesting that they use that word, because now we see it as kind of a bad word. But in reality, it means unbeliever. Unbeliever. If you don't follow through with these things, you are worse than an unbeliever. So does it mean that we are to forever provide for our kids? You know what's funny? As you get a little older, it probably seems that you're still providing for the kids, even though they're in their